Hi, everyone. Welcome to Search Sessions. I'm Christine Pratt, the Director of Content here at Boostability. I'll be hosting our show today. We're so excited to have you join our last show of the year. It's December. It's crazy how fast this year has gone, but we've covered all kinds of topics this year. We've had SEO keyword research. We've talked about video marketing and customer reviews, and we're finishing it up today with our annual Trends and Predictions show, where we talk about what you need to succeed in your marketing efforts in the next year. So Search Sessions, it's a dedicated thought leadership series where we focus on helping businesses position themselves for success, no matter your industry or your location. Every show has our expert guests, business strategists, industry leaders, and we provide key advice that you can apply to elevate your business to the next level. So for today's show, you've got Maya Teagle and myself, our Boostability SEO. I'll call us gurus. We'll go with that. And we've talked to dozens of experts from around the world over the past couple months to compile these predictions. And so we're excited to share what they have to say. So Maya, thanks as always for being here.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited to go over this.
Awesome. So we don't want to waste any time today. We're going to jump into the agenda and then into the predictions. We've got a lot to cover. So first, I'll just introduce you a little bit to myself, to Maya, and to Boostability, so you know who we are. And then we'll just get right into it. We're talking SEO and local search. We've got a few on social media marketing, video marketing, customer communications and PR, chatbots, AI, and virtual assistants. Then we're talking about privacy and marketing personalization. And I'll be moderating comments and questions throughout the discussion. Feel free to weigh in on the Q&A and chat features. I'll be moderating to that. And you can also follow along with our conversation on Twitter. We're at Boostability, and you can share your own thoughts with the hashtag Boost Search Sessions. So follow along there if you'd like. So about us, Maya is the SEO manager for our marketing team here at Boostability. She graduated from the University of Utah with a degree in marketing and has been expanding on her knowledge and skill set of SEO ever since. Before joining corporate marketing team here at Boost, where we're so lucky to have her, we love her every day. She's been focusing on SEO strategy and development and fulfillment, as well as client account management with several other digital marketing agencies in Salt Lake City. She's worked with clients ranging from small businesses to enterprise organization, and she's executed SEO strategies for 20 different company websites. She knows her stuff. Then outside of work, Maya loves to go on hikes with her husband and dog, play volleyball, bake and cook, and then try new restaurants throughout the city. And then for myself, I have a decade's worth of communication experience in communication strategy work that I came from before Boostability. I have a master's degree in leadership and communications from Gonzaga, and then graduated from BYU with a degree in broadcast journalism. I've worked in TV news and public relations, communication strategy, and now marketing for over a decade. And in addition to being part of the marketing team, I love to travel and sports and basically all things nerdy. We have Star Wars discussions here on our team on the regular, and it's fun to participate in. Okay, so for Boostability, we are the global leader in partner-focused white label SEO. We offer SEO specifically designed to meet the needs of small to medium-sized businesses, and we do that through our partner channel. Our proprietary technology Launchpad tracks over 2.3 million keyword rankings every single month, so that allows us to make strategic SEO decisions based on millions of bits of information. And not only that, but we serve customers and partners around the world. We're in 15 countries and 9 languages and expanding every year. We get 86% of our customers into the top 10 rankings of Google within 6 months, and 78,000 plus keywords for our customers in the top 10 of Google in 2020. And I'm excited to pull that number for 2021 because I know we grew. And for that, I want to say before we really get into the discussion, we get this question every time. I will be posting this talk onto YouTube and our Boostability website later this afternoon, and then we'll share it out through email for everyone who signed up. So if you miss anything, feel free, or you'll be able to access it again. So with that, I feel like I've talked too much. We'll send it over to Maya in just a second, but the ongoing pandemic and some different restrictions and cultures, depending on your location, business, industry, all of that, essentially, it's made this year a wild one for marketers because consumer behavior, jumping too fast. There we go. Consumer behavior has changed drastically this year. It's made agile marketing and like a crucial strategy. And for us, at least, it seems like we've had to adapt nearly every week to these changing to these changing times. So with that, let's start it off with SEO and local search and how they've increased in importance. We are an SEO company after all, so we're going to start off with that. And Maya, over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So for the last couple of years, clearly things have transformed to an entirely digital and remote environment for most around the world. I know it's not the case for everyone, but for the majority it is. But as businesses are starting to now reopen their doors to customers, they should be focusing on capturing that local community once again, if it makes sense for your model. So Norm Rohr, he's the Senior Vice President of Marketing and Communications over at Uberall. We got his advice on this. And I mean, they are definitely experts in the local community and just in local search in general. But he says that the key to success in the coming year is to optimize for both an offline and an online local customer experience. 74% of consumers prefer a mix of online and in-person shopping. So capturing that local customer is a low-hanging fruit, especially as consumers are becoming more cognizant of supporting small businesses over large national brands. And providing that seamless customer experience is essential. But in addition to that, showing up online in front of people who are actually searching for a service or a product you can deliver on is just as important. So while many traditional SEO practices do overlap with local SEO, there are specific strategies for local search that you should be optimizing for to increase your visibility within the local community. An easy place to start is to optimize your Google Business Profile. The name was recently changed to Google Business Profile from Google My Business, but it's the same exact thing still. So the dashboard, the interface, everything will still be the same. It's just that small little name and icon is different. But optimizing this listing is essential, and getting like the basic information that customers need to know, like your business address, what times and days you're open, how they can reach you for support or questions, and of course, guiding them to your website is the first starting point there. There are on-site elements as well. And for on-site optimization, you should be incorporating location-based and near-me terms into your content. So having a dedicated page on your website with information like details on how to get directions to your business. What are some of those local landmarks, local structures, businesses nearby that are right next to you, or anything else that can better help search engines understand your location? This is a great way to optimize for local search, but it's also really great to avoid duplicate content if you are a business that has multiple locations within the same state or city, instead of creating doorway content that can get you in trouble. With Google and other search engines, this is a good way for you to create those individual pages to capture that local market that you're in without encroaching in on duplicate content. And another major trend within the local search community and just SEO in general, it comes from Colton Miller, the Boostability's director of SEO product. He's predicting that there's a diminishing importance of links. And while link building is still crucial, I have to stress that because it's not the takeaway that it's not anymore. It's still crucial to achieving your high organic rankings for SEO, but data does show that in the last 5 and 6 years, that only a small percentage of backlinks actually help site performance, while the rest is typically ignored. This is where search engines harp on getting natural backlinks. But there's obviously businesses out there that do link building efforts as well, and that's absolutely essential. But instead, Colton does predict that the need for positive social signals and analyzing user behavior is going to increase in the coming years, while those effects do diminish for links. So this can include online reviews, social media likes, shares and comments, click and post-click behavior. So if you're new to that, that's basically what are users clicking on from the search engine results page, or I'll be referring to that as a SERP moving forward. But how long are they on that page before returning back to the SERP? What links do they click on after yours? Or do they just search for another query altogether? Then again, as I mentioned, the takeaway here is not to stop link building efforts. This is still necessary for SEO, but you should be expanding your focus on other areas like analyzing your aggregated usage data to get better insight into user behavior and those social signals I mentioned above for just your website and your business overall. Local SEO, positive online reviews do directly impact your local search rankings. So that should absolutely be a priority if you are a local business, a small business. You should be absolutely prioritizing getting consistent and positive, authentic reviews as often as you can. Here, quantity and quality both matter. So make that a regular practice to get people to filter in and to leave these reviews for you. But if you do get the one-off negative review, don't delete it, even though it may be tempting to do so. It's actually helpful in demonstrating trust and authority within search engines to show that you're taking the necessary steps to rectify that situation and to transform a bad customer experience into a positive one. So 3 main takeaways from this. 1, focus on enhancing your hybrid customer experience. People want options for both in-person and online shopping experiences. So while we did shift to a digital environment, which we still are clearly in, things are starting to open back up, and it's time to start incorporating local search best practices into your strategy once again. The second, links may be diminishing, but don't stop it. The practice is clearly evolving, but it's still crucial for strategies and channels like SEO. And last but not least, the third is to analyze your user behavior and social signals. And so search engines are becoming smarter. We've clearly seen that with the influx of algorithm updates, ranking signal changes being made, hyper-targeted updates on like link spam, product reviews. In 2021 alone, we've had, I think, the highest record of them so far. So look beyond the traditional link building and traditional SEO to see how you can boost your authority and get positive social signals for your site.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Maya.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to talk about some agile social media. We got, out of the people we talked to, we got a lot of predictions about social media. And honestly, we could do an entire show just to how to prepare your social strategy for 2022. There's so much really that goes into this, and it really boils down to how to better engage your customers. So to start, have you really heard the term shoppable posts more often this year? I know I have. That might not have been something that I heard even from 2019. It's become way more popular in the past couple of years. And that's because it's essentially one of the greatest ways to have consumers buy directly from your brand online. Charbel Corey from SVP Marketing and Communications at CrickBlog, he points out a study from eMarketer that really says that the number of social commerce buyers in the United States alone increased from 80 million people in 2020, and it's expected to be over 100 million people in 2022. So this means if you have any kind of product offering you can sell online directly to your customers, you need to take advantage of those social media buying options. So if you have a product, for some reason, a skateboard comes to mind. So, if you offer something like that, post about that on your social media platforms, like, hey, come check out our product in store, or also add that buy now option to your Facebook, to whatever platform you're on. I think most, if not all, of the really popular social media platforms, or Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest in particular, we'll talk about that one in a minute, all have that shoppable option. So you can definitely take advantage of that to market some of your products directly to your customers. And people are really starting to buy directly from that, because it means they don't have to leave the app and go somewhere else. They can just buy right there. Another growing trend, let's see if we can add it. There we go. Another growing trend that we might have discounted even a couple of years ago is, like I mentioned, Pinterest. It's one of the fastest growing social media platforms in the world right now. Not sure how many people know that, but this is really along the same lines as shoppable posts. 4 in 10 Pinterest users use the site for purchase inspiration and product discovery. And if they like what they see, you can purchase right from the platform. Ashley Reagan-Sir from RGC Advertising points out that Shopify merchants, so this is specifically with Shopify, which is where a lot of e-commerce platforms are built now, especially for small businesses. They can put whole product catalogs as shoppable pins. And there's a feature through the Shopify platform that allows you to do that. Through this just one integration, the number of Pinterest users shopping directly on the app increased by 50% just this year. And that's not going to change. There's a reason that Pinterest is growing so quickly, and it's because so many people want to buy directly from the app if they like what they see. So that's a huge number that's just only going to continue to go up. So outside the world of e-commerce and those social signals, we're actually seeing a whole lot of new social media starting to grow in popularity. According to Angela Hawkins from Voices, there's audio-focused platforms like Clubhouse that have kind of emerged in the past couple of years. And then, of course, we've probably all listened to a podcast or two since the pandemic started. These kind of like audio-based platforms are increasing in engagement. They really put that emphasis on expertise on a topic, and people gravitate towards that. But it's growing because you can really tune in and listen while you're doing other tasks or driving or, working in the kitchen, something like that, rather than sitting down and scrolling on your phone like every other social platform. So it means increased engagement, more listeners and participants than you'd likely get on some of these other traditional platforms. So really what this boils down to is that if you're having a hard time engaging with your audience, maybe you're just not getting as many clicks on your Facebook or on your LinkedIn or whatever the platform may be, it might be time to start trying alternate versions of social media platforms. Maybe try podcasting or something like that is a new way to engage with your audience. And then, of course, we can't talk about social media without talking about video, specifically TikTok. I mean, TikTok has blown up this year, or since the pandemic started, really. Lara Fuentes points out that the platform will become more business friendly in the next year. They're creating new sponsorships and influencer opportunities, more places for advertising. So whether you're actually on the TikTok app, on Instagram Reels, even, a lot of these show up on YouTube, there's a whole different way that you can take advantage of these little micro videos that are so dang popular. Consider making marketing opportunities that involve more video, specifically these, like I said, these micro videos. People love the short little bits that they can just get their entertainment from, get their information, and keep on moving. Businesses and trends online, if you really create your own version of that trend, you'll see tremendous growth. I'm thinking at the beginning of the year, I think I used this in another Search Sessions broadcast, Bernie Sanders at the inauguration. I saw a few people like print out pictures of him in their store and then like posted it online, and they got way more likes just because they jumped on that trend. There's a one on TikTok right now that's like, bro, who got you smiling like that? Show off your product while you're using that audio. That's just like little small ways that you can start to promote your business with these little micro videos that I think people will really gravitate towards. We got several people that we talked to mentioned that specifically. So takeaways for social media, make your post shoppable. That is crucial, especially if you have an e-commerce or any kind of product that you offer directly to consumer. That will be crucial. Consider alternate social media like audio and podcasting if you need new ways to reach your customers. And then TikTok and video platforms boomed in popularity. They're not going away anytime soon. And speaking of video, we really want to dive into that more because it's a crucial piece in your marketing puzzle for 2022. So I'll send it back over to Maya to talk through this subject.
Thanks, Christine. So video marketing has been a hot topic this past year and years past, but it's not going to change anytime soon. YouTube is the second most popular website in the world following Google, and it's predicted that 82% of internet traffic will be video by 2022. So in the next coming slides, we're going to talk about a couple of video trends predicted by two digital marketing experts. And one of them being Nick Liebman. He's the director of content over at Powtoon. And if you guys are joining us again from previous search sessions, Nick actually was on our August search session that was entirely dedicated to video marketing, where we also talked about different strategies to increase your rankings on YouTube search. Like you make a video, now how do you get people to access it? How do you increase your visibility? On the second largest platform in the world. So we'll include that in the recap too. So we'll link back to that so you can look back at some of our strategies for that as well. So you can start implementing some of those and get your videos seen. But for Nick, one of the trends that he's predicting is now that we've shifted over to that hybrid model, like we talked earlier, the way we work and communicate has trended to be less formal and produced as well. So Nick believes that this trend is going to apply to video marketing moving into the next year, where consumers want to see authenticity, not just high budget scripted productions. And this doesn't mean that your videos should be disorganized and messy. Your backdrops still need to be clean and professional, and you still need to act professional. But make your videos personal and connect with your audience at a genuine level. And remember to run tests, gather data on your video performance to better understand how to optimize your campaign for better results. And like Christine mentioned, there are some shorter videos that are doing better, especially in light of TikTok. Things are evolving. Longer videos aren't necessarily the end all be all, but they're also not to be knocked off the strategy or your table at all. So. And then the second one comes from Adam Fard, who is the owner of Adam Fard Agile User Experience Design Agency. He echoes a similar sentiment to Nick on the rising popularity of video and the need to showcase your authenticity. But in addition to that, Adam believes that original and innovative videos will be the main content channel winners moving into 2022. So the great thing about video marketing is just how creative you can get with it. In his personal experience, he has seen that live streaming videos have especially increased in popularity and engagement within the last 2 years. Tying this back to the previous trend, live streams typically can make it easier to show your authenticity and tend to be less scripted. So it definitely makes sense. And the 3 main takeaways for video marketing over here, consumers want your authenticity. Connecting to brands on a more personal level is becoming more important for consumers and popular. So see how you can resonate with them. What level can you connect with them beyond just a good product and a service? 2, original and creative content is key. So see what you can do to innovate your marketing campaigns and test out what works best for your business and what your users and audience engage with more. Is it the longer video? Are they shorter clips? Are they more tutorial based? You're showing how to use a product or a service. TikTok is a great place to do that. And 3, informal videos can be just as effective as high budget productions. You don't need to spend a fortune creating videos to increase your engagement and boost your ROI. Platforms like Powtoon do make video marketing more accessible for businesses and users with this affordable and user-friendly model.
Great. Thanks, Maya, on that. Get back to you again in just a couple minutes. We're bouncing back and forth on topics. So next, we're talking about customer communications and PR. So open communications with your customers is crucial. That doesn't matter what year it is. That was the same 10 years ago as it is now, as it was 25 years ago. But personalization and really a sense of individuality continues to increase. So we'll see an increased emphasis on we'll see that throughout these next couple of predictions. We're going to see that through any company communications trends in the next couple of years if you're involved in that. So Mike Schneider from Muckrack, he specifically focused on PR, and he really talks about the drastic shift from office to remote and hybrid work. It really changed the media landscape extremely quickly since the pandemic started. And that essentially means that the nature of PR and earned media and promoting your company changed as well, because you're reaching consumers, you're reaching the media that you're pitching to in kind of different formats. There's different media platforms like podcasting that I mentioned earlier. So there's different types of PR that really wasn't considered traditional before, but it is now. So really, for if your internal team, if you have a PR or communications or even a marketing team in general, it means better communication internally and then externally with your customers, clear communications as you pitch your news media, as you pitch your stories, as you're promoting your business is key. People can see through phony or self-aggrandizing type communications now. It doesn't work as well as it used to when you're just trying to promote. People appreciate honesty. They appreciate genuine like you're talking with them straight across one-on-one, rather than a customer. So for a public relations standpoint, that means that you should also consider these alternate media platforms. I mean, that's really where people are getting their media now. And PR professionals need to consider these and other technological tools in order to show how you're really driving effective business outcomes for your customers. And then he also points out that earned media will become more popular as third-party ad targeting becomes increasingly difficult. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. It really comes down to organic brand building and building consumer trust to cultivate your new customers. Really, some of the traditional communications practices that we've all done for so long with our customers won't necessarily cut it anymore. And then, like Maya kind of talked about earlier with local SEO, we have reviews, which are becoming increasingly more important as the years continue. That's also not going to change. Really think about how many of you have looked at a new business in the past couple of years. How many times have you gone to the reviews page on Google or Yelp or whatever before you even make a call or visit the store? You want to make sure that others are having a good experience before you risk your own time, your own money. This is really key in 2022. Not only is it a good local SEO signal when you have positive reviews and you're engaging with those reviews, Chris Campbell from Review Tracker says that customer reviews are actually changing themselves. They've gotten 65% shorter to only about 200 characters. That's really only an extended tweet. They are not very long. People don't really want to read long novels anymore. They want to get a short version of these business interactions from multiple people from multiple sources rather than just long novels and about experiences from a couple people. So engagement with these reviews has also increased dramatically with other people engaging with them. They want to see that you're either grateful for the positive experience or that if you have a negative one, that you've learned from it and you've improved your business because of it. So make sure you carefully nurture your reviews, respond, correct the mistake if you do get a new one or a negative one. And then reviews will continue or cultivate those reviews with your happy customers. We could do a whole nother show about that. In fact, we actually did back in March. If you go back to our search sessions page on our website, you can check out a little bit more information about popular reviews. So some takeaways here on this section: PR teams should really focus on earned media over paid media, and then use alternate media like podcasts or other places where you know that your customers are connecting in maybe a way that they haven't before. Make sure you engage with your online reviews. And then again, like I mentioned, reviews are getting shorter, but more important for consumers. So recognize how that is changing for your own industry. And now, out of the dozens of people we talked to compile this report, AI, chatbots was actually one of the most common topics brought up. And Maya is going to summarize this part for us.
We have a lot.
We do have a lot.
This is a big one. It seems to be a recurring one each year, especially with the technological and algorithm advancements that are being made. So we received a lot of expert opinions and really good statistics surrounding just artificial intelligence, chatbots, marketing automation, and virtual assistants. So, and
I think before we really dive into it, is that it's not as difficult maybe as you think it is. Like AI and chatbot sounds like, I mean, technologically stressful and maybe futuristic even a little bit, but they're becoming a lot more accessible. So I'll just throw that out there, and back to you.
That's a little daunting and overwhelming when you hear artificial intelligence. I always think to like robots. And then when I start actually looking into it, I'm like, oh, I could do this. So it's great.
Exactly.
So Gatis Viskers, he was our first to talk about this. He's the director at Ambition Digital. He shares some of his thoughts on just chatbots and marketing automation. And one of those is chatbot usage is expected to grow at 24% over the next 4 to 5 years, which is huge. And as a form of marketing automation, chatbots are just one of the many means to reduce your business costs, overhead costs, increase efficiency in your organization. And from Ambition's own or Ambition Digital's own research shows that chatbots are estimated to help cut business costs in the range of $8 billion by next year, which is astronomical. This could be a great solution for improving your customer experience as well, because it's 24/7 available support versus having just an individual person there in certain limited hours. And not to take away from the importance of the human element, but the two can coexist together rather than just taking away human support from this. So on that, Gatti states that in his experience, most customer questions are standard, like a simple FAQ, and a well-configured chatbot can answer about 80% of those. So even if the chatbot can't answer that query, it will record the customer's email address, contact information, and then a customer service representative can follow up with them afterward for additional support and help for that human element. But on the other side of it, especially for like lead gen, drip campaigns, all these other lead gen strategies, you can use that contact information for those campaigns. So saving that and seeing how you can incorporate that into email marketing, into something else that can capture that prospective customer rather than dropping off entirely, how you can still engage with them and possibly convert them into an actual customer. In addition to that, Edward Mellett, he's the founder of WikiJob. He also predicts that chatbots will be, they're going to see exponential growth, obviously, in the next year, but he predicts that they're going to become a customer service standard, which is a pretty strong statement. But he believes this because its technological and machine learning advancements are making it capable of emulating human behavior with near supernatural accuracy. And a big advantage to this for businesses is just the option to save on overhead costs, resources, manpower, and just cost saving benefits without compromising quality, which I know has been a thing in the past with when this was first starting to come about. And I think still is, depending on which businesses are using it and how they're executing, where you're just like pressing zero, like just connect me to a person. This is the worst thing ever. But it's evolving and they're getting smarter, they're getting better, saves you time also as a user, rather than having to connect with somebody. You can just get a simple question answered in a matter of a minute or less online while you're already on the website. So another trend, not related to chatbots, but this one comes from Hassan Usmani. He is a tech expert at Yeelight, and he's talking about artificial intelligence specifically. And he is saying that several industries like retail, finance, and healthcare are already incorporating AI into marketing strategies beyond what it's typically used for. And like for SEO, I know we use it a lot for reporting and keyword research needs. And I think that's similar across multiple different niches within the marketing department. But he's suggesting to use it beyond what it's typically used for. So predictive analytics are becoming a bigger thing. And what that is, it's data that shows insight into future buyer behavior based off what they're most likely going to buy in the future, based on their previous purchases, their browsing history, and other factors like that. So this data is extremely helpful, extremely valuable for SEO. I'm going to talk about SEO specifically because that's what I'm in, but it's useful for all other different channels and strategies. But it can give you a competitive advantage by already promoting your products or services that people, based off hard numbers, hard data, they're expected to be interested in the next coming months or in the near future. So if you're able to capitalize on that before any of your competitors are, you can get that promoted and working and getting it in front of people before anybody else can. That's going to give you that competitive edge. And people are going to see you. They're most likely going to be going to you to make that purchase. And for SEO, this is especially important because SEO should be operating 3 to 4 months in advance at all times. It takes at least that amount of time for pages in your website to be sufficiently crawled, of course, depending on how competitive the industry is, the size of your website, size of your business, all of that. But typically, in my experience, that's what I've seen, 3 to 4 months. So last minute reactions and trying to promote things last minute for SEO is not going to get you results. And this is definitely how using predictive analytics through AI correlates with SEO just to enhance your strategy even further. And so moving on to virtual assistants, this is not a new concept. This has been a thing that's been trending consistently. And it's going to continue trending and increasing in importance moving into the next year. So we've got a quote from Matt Weidel. He's the business development manager at Buyer's Guide. And he states that voice search shopping market value is expected to reach 40 billion by 2022. And this is followed up by 18% of consumer expenditure coming solely from voice assistants. And with SEO specifically, this has been an important factor in campaigns. And it depends on your demographic. It depends on your users, the age, and just the industry you're in. But this has been becoming a more important thing with SEO because mobile devices are just so accessible now. Everybody has them on them all the time. People are looking things up on their mobile devices more so versus desktops, and Google and other search engines have shifted to mobile first indexing. So they're looking at that first before anything else. And just another statistic that proves that point, 71% of consumers prefer to conduct searches by voice instead of typing. So it's a wild statistic, in fact, to even think about. But on the next slide, Tim Absalikov, he builds upon this further. Tim's the co-founder and CEO of Lasting Trend Digital Marketing Agency. And he's found that more than half of online purchases are expected to be made using voice search by 2022. And 55% of teens also use voice search every day. So if your target audience consists of a younger generation and you're not optimizing your website and content for voice search, you could be missing out on a major opportunity to increase your revenue. But if you're also curious, if you don't really have good personas established and you're not really sure where to start, checking your analytics data to see where most of they are tracking like device usage. So there's a specific report in there where that will be able to tell you the percentage breakdown of the people on accessing your website. What devices are they using the most? So you can get a good sense of that. But even if it's primarily desktop, it doesn't matter anymore because Google and other search engines are looking at your site from your mobile perspective first. So optimizing for voice search and obviously optimizing for mobile user experience takes like the top priority list there. But a good starting point to optimizing your website for voice search, if you're new to this, if you're not sure, is to incorporate conversational keywords or question-based queries into your content. In the headers, definitely some of those places that hold more weight, or creating new pieces that will address questions like an FAQ does. So not only does that help capture some of the voice search elements, but it can also help you rank in other areas outside of a traditional SERP, like the organic listing that you usually see under the ads. There's so much real estate on there that's popping up. They're changing the landscape of a SERP as well, where you're seeing like knowledge bases popping up. Your Google My Business or Google Business Profile. I'm still stuck in the Google My Business area of that, so I still need to transition my mind to the new nomenclature. But you have image carousels, you have people also ask, all of these different areas and featured snippets that you could be ranking for. Voice search can help you get there as well. And they're just as important to get seen there as well as like a traditional organic listing. So to summarize it all, 3 main takeaways of this section. First being that chatbots are becoming a standard for customer service. Those technological advancements are improving the quality of a chatbot, but it will also save businesses a lot of time, money, and valuable resources, which it's hard to beat. It's one of the biggest ones. Second one, start using AI beyond what it's normally used for in marketing. I think a lot of platforms are already ahead of this and starting to integrate this more into their dashboards and their tools and software. So you can get on that track and start seeing how you can get predictive analytics into there and start also going back to user behavior and those social signals. How can you tie those together to start seeing what you can do to prepare for the future before your competition does? And number 3, optimizing your website for voice search. So it's not a new thing. It's going to be a thing moving forward again each year. So it's going to stick around and it's going to continue increasing in importance, especially with the statistics we just shared. And yeah, that's all I have on this section.
Thanks. You mentioned something about how like 55% of searchers or something are going to be voice search in the next little bit. That just blows my mind. I mean, something like,
Yeah.
hey, Google, what's the weather outside? It sounds so simple. And it's also like 5 years ago, it was pretty futuristic. Like we asked Siri when that first came out, and we rarely got the right answer, but it's come so far in that last little bit. Am I right?
I know, I think I'm still a little jaded myself because I'm not like the younger generation, but considering my age, I probably should fall in that category, but I'm just so stunted when it comes to using my phone on that front. But it's funny to see, or it's not funny to see, it's awesome to see that 55% of the people using voice search every day are teens. And I feel like they're just kind of like a forgotten about customer demographic. There's so much potential there, especially they're the ones that are using it. They're going to move on up with that. So as teens say, don't sleep on them.
Look at you up with the
oh my gosh. Ready for the holidays.
Oh, that's awesome. Great. Thank you, Maya. Okay, so we've got a few more topics left. We're going to get to our Q&A at the end. I'm seeing a few questions come in. So again, if you have any, you can drop those into the feature or the chat feature or the Q&A section. So thanks to those who have done that so far. So right now we're going to talk a little bit more about privacy. This is another wildly popular topic. Really how the increased focus of consumers and now internet companies are starting to protect data. This essentially, it started in Europe with some of their laws and regulations that have been put in place, and it's spreading around the world because people are actually liking that their data is not necessarily being shared out as much. So it's really no secret. Like, I think we'd all love our online behavior to be a little bit more, I guess protected is the right word here. I mean, I was looking at something on my phone earlier today, which is not connected to my computer. And then I got an ad for that same thing later. So I'm like, are they reading my brainwaves? I don't like that. So really, I think we'd all like more information or more control over the information that companies collect on us. And additionally, Google's said that they intend to do away with third-party cookies. Originally, that was slated for next year in 2022, and now it's looking like it's going to be early 2023. Either way, though, that is coming, and it's something that every company, every online advertiser, whether that's PPC or Google AdWords or whatever, needs to start preparing for now. We could probably do another research sessions entirely on that. But it really means getting away with third-party cookie support. It means that it's going to be extremely difficult to target ad campaigns and collect data that enables ABM, that's account-based marketing. Other targeted marketing campaigns will become a lot more difficult in the coming years. So that means you need to start thinking really how to best reach your audience with targeted campaign based on your own data that you collect rather than any cookies, any tracking data. That's what Sarah Jameson here with Building Elements is talking about. She recommends CRM tools, polls, interactive content, that all of this will become increasingly more important for marketers. And if you haven't done that yet and you've been so based on these essentially traditional marketing campaigns, I say traditional loosely because all these digital PPC and cookie tracking and all of that is so new, but it's going to quickly become outdated. So you need to start thinking about new ways of learning your customer personas and learning who that target audience really is so you can better reach them. And then Shiv Gupta, he dives into the Google News a little bit further, saying you really have to plan, like I kind of mentioned, for getting rid of that third-party cookie support. It's not an understatement to say this change will literally impact almost every aspect of your advertising. So you need to start collecting, setting up your CRM for zero-party data. This is data transmitted directly from a customer to the corporation. It will really be important for you to make smart decisions once Google stops supporting that third-party cookie support. I don't know why that's hard for me to say, but it's really going to change kind of the marketing, the advertising, really the entire landscape in the coming year as Google gets ready to make that change, because other tech companies will likely follow. So on this, a couple of takeaways here. Consider some personalized marketing and interactive content. We'll talk about that in just a second with our final topic. And then start preparing now if you do rely on PPC and online advertising. Start preparing now for that removal. It's really going to impact 2022 overall. And then along that same lines, I kind of mentioned it a minute ago, interactive content, personalized marketing will become even more important. Melanie Ulrich from last Friday, she predicts that personalization will really, from an e-commerce perspective specifically, it could make or break it. It's likely that you as a person, you as a consumer, not as a marketer, really engage with a brand or make a purchase if you feel like they know you, if you feel like you're seen by them. So from a marketing perspective, you need to do that with your customers as well. So make things more personal. You need to know who visits your website. You need to really understand who your customers are, and your target audience to the core. I think Maya mentioned earlier about building customer personas so you can really understand them on a personal level. Then let's see, that helps you understand their goals. That helps you understand their interests, why they really come to you in the first place. Really understanding that customer on a base level will help you better engage with them, help you offer a better product, help you better advertise to them. And it snowballs from there. So we only had one on marketing personalization, but I cannot emphasize enough how truly important that is, that people really want to be seen, to be heard, and even if it's not like I think, Cheers, they walk in like, Norm, it's not going to be like that. You need to know your customers are really who they are, so that you can better market to them. So a couple of key takeaways. 80% of people, this is a massive number, will engage with a brand if they feel seen by it. So keep that in mind, as I kind of emphasize the importance of this. Make sure you see your customers for who they are, and not trying to target someone else. Really target who you already have, and then you can start growing that list more. And then create customer personas. Back when a little younger, I didn't necessarily believe in that and understand the importance of personas. But now that I really have gotten into that practice of understanding who we service as a company, build up that persona, and I can target my communications, I can target our marketing strategies better because I understand who they are. Even if I don't know them one-on-one, if I'm not talking to them on the phone, I understand who they are and what they're trying to accomplish with their business because I've created these personas, and that's made me a better marketer. So you can do the same thing. So with all of that, we do have a couple questions that have come in. And if you haven't yet, there's still time. You can drop those in the chat. We have a few minutes left. So I'm actually going to start one with you and go back to the very, very, very top. When we were talking about SEO and local SEO, you mentioned some insane algorithm volatility that we've all dealt with. Anyone who's worked in SEO has kind of been like, what is going on with the algorithm this year? Do we really expect that to continue? I mean, it's hard to even plan for it under normal circumstances. What can you do to make sure that you're prepared for SEO in the new year?
Yeah, so to address the first one, it's going to continue. It came from Danny Sullivan back on November 8th, and we have a recap. If you go on our blog, we do a monthly recap of all the updates and just announcements in the SEO industry, top ones that are worth noting at least. We've included this one here, and on November 8th, Danny Sullivan did confirm that more is going to be expected, especially in the near future moving forward. It's tough to say if it's going to be at the scale and the volatility of this year alone. SEMrush came out and did a study on that, and their data shows that for desktops it was 28% more volatile, but for mobile it was 84% more volatile. And of course that makes sense because everything is mobile first index. That's where kind of the first visual search engines are seeing you at. So 2021 was a dumpster fire in terms of just updates and like significant updates happening on a weekly basis. It's tough to see, like, to even be able to do tests to have like a conclusive opinion or just an insight on where it's going to go, what's working, what's not. But yeah, it's going to be a thing moving forward. It's just tough to say how and on what level, but I think core updates are going to keep rolling out as they have been, maybe even more frequently. I think we can expect to see a lot more targeted updates happening. Like this year, we had the product reviews update. I think they've released 2 of them, but this was their first time getting hyper focused on that aspect of it, where they're getting very nitpicky and much smarter in analyzing review-based content. And it's not just for sites that are like review sites. So they're cracking down on their guidelines and also just improving the way they're able to detect spam, both link spam, content, search spam. So that's definitely going to be an expectation moving forward. And this is so generic, but for SEO moving forward, I just think they keep saying this, right? But specifics are hard because everything is changing so fast, but focusing on user experience, focusing on improving it as much as possible, being genuine, avoiding spammy, even questionable tactics that may have worked in the past, focusing on just I don't know the word to use besides white hat tactics, approved tactics, very clean. Focusing on that stuff moving forward and content, obviously, and just making sure that you're aware of your intent behind your keywords. And of course, to know your intent, you have to know your demographic and your personas and really get in line with your intent with their service offerings and your products to make sure you're matching it up with the best type of customer and just the best keywords.
Mm-hmm.
That was a lot.
No, this is great. And just to kind of piggyback on that, I think HubSpot did a study this year that was like 80% of SEO experts have seen more volatility, more unexpected rankings or something like that on mobile specifically in 2022. And then it was like 60 something percent on desktop. So, I mean, this is, if you haven't seen any volatility, congratulations. I think it's impacted most people out there, most marketers out there, just with kind of the insanity, another week, another update. I know we've said that many times in our own internal marketing meetings. So awesome. Thank you for that, Maya. I'm going to take another one on someone kind of mentioned AI and chatbots that have seemed so futuristic. Is it really going to change marketing and communications? I'll start on this, Maya. If you have any insights, jump in. I think they will change. I think it'll change communications. I don't know if it'll completely change the traditional marketing tactics that we've all come to know. I mean, installing a chatbot, it's not necessarily impossible as it maybe used to be, but having those like kind of pre-programmed answers like your FAQ, all of that will really help. And then still teaching your customer service reps or your sales reps or whoever's reaching out to the person on the other end of this to have good communication qualities, that will never change. I mean, a machine, AI, whatever, can only communicate so well. It still takes an actual human person to program the thing to respond well and then eventually follow up in person to make the sale. I don't see that necessarily changing at any point in the future. So, I mean, yes, it will change marketing, but overall good customer communications and just communications as a company in general, that I don't think AI is going to ever take that away. Okay. So another question we've got a couple in here about voice search. Really, I guess, Maya, I'll start with you. How do you really optimize for voice search? I mean, these answers, when you say, Google, what's the weather today? Or, how late is the store open? Or even like, what one did I ask the other day? It was like, how do you, I had a rip in a shirt. I'm like, how do you close a seam on a shirt? And I actually asked my Google home device on my counter, and it found a video, but then it read off just a little bit because someone included the captions with the video. So it was easy for me to integrate it. So I guess, how do you make sure that your site is ready for some of these voice search queries?
I think there's still like a lot of overlap with traditional search there, but definitely incorporating those conversational queries, those question-based queries, like the text and the transcription of your question popping up for search. And so there are tactics on incorporating that into like your header as high up on the page as possible. Adding that into like in addition to that, incorporating schema markup into your content as well, just to get it, give it that extra leverage to rank in a different featured snippet. If it's up there, like if it's a video or something like that, if you have a video attached to a transcription, there's schema markup for that. If it's an FAQ based question, there is schema for that as well. So putting that in conjunction to your content, getting very simple, very clear. I feel it's a fine line of writing. I forgot my English there. It's a fine line to ride the balance of creating a story, providing enough information, but doing so in a very concise manner and taking out the fluff. And what I've seen work best is when you just get straight to the point, take away that fluff, give people information and the answers to their questions immediately, using like numbered lists and bulleted lists in there. That helps search engines display that. And like people also ask featured snippet easier or at the very top in the answer box. That's what people are looking for. Typically, they don't want to just look and click into that. They're hoping to get information right from the get-go of the cert. But I hope that was helpful. If not, send us another chat message and I'll try to get a little bit more simplified there. But I guess to recap that, schema markup for sure. There's so many options out there with a lot of descriptions and information on how to use it, if it's the best fit for this, and it'll guide you into what you should use. Conversational queries, incorporating like those questions into headers and throughout the content, and just getting very concise with your answers. And putting yourself in the user's shoes, like pretend that you're the one that's looking for this information. And is it easy for you to find? If not, like that's a clear-cut way to improve it better.
Yeah. And you can add some of that extra context, I hate to use the word fluff, but like more information lower down in your blog post or further into the section. But if you answer the question first thing, that usually satisfies good voice search, good SEO practices in general. And then you could add more context with more keywords later on. So to that, there was one other kind of about like software around voice search, and Maya, you can add on to this, but I'd say there's nothing really specific beyond good SEO practices anyway, like good keyword research and those question-based queries, putting it in your header, all of that. So, I mean, no additional SEO or software tools are really necessary to prepare for voice search beyond what you already use for your SEO tools.
Exactly. I don't think I have anything else to echo on that part, but I did want to just go back to what you mentioned about, anytime I'm on this, I always forget I have so many better words to say instead of fluff or instead of white hat. And there's like a block in my mind and I always refer back to that. But no, it's definitely not fluff, right? But like you mentioned, getting concise, straight to the point information up top, and then underneath it, obviously incorporating headers and jump links and things to improve user experience and get people to the sections that they need to see, that they're wanting to see based off their intent as fast as possible is important. But you can see how one piece can address both the voice search element, but then you obviously need more context, more information, more keywords to be able to rank for different keywords and to demonstrate your EAT better. So it's a balance, and then testing. Obviously with SEO, everything is testing it out, seeing how it works, which is like a love-hate relationship, but
but it works, unfortunately. Love and hate, but it works. Awesome. Well, we are at the top of the hour, so we'll end our Q&A here. We've got a couple more, but we'll reach out to you individually. So thank you for weighing in on the chat. And then this has just kind of been a very high level overview of these topics. If you want to read the full thing and everything from our experts that have weighed in, you can find our digital trends report on our website. It's boostability.com/content. You can also find it at the top of our social media pages as well. We've got it pinned there, so it's easy to find. And then, like I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, we'll get this talk posted on our website and our YouTube later this afternoon, so you can watch it again if you missed one point or you just want to listen to it again. And we'll also share out the video in a follow-up email. And then as always, if you need help with your SEO, Boostability is here. You can reach out to us at boostability.com or give us a call, and then be sure to check out our other search sessions throughout 2020, 2021. We've had a ton of amazing content. You can check out all of these and learn from some of our other experts. We'll also post updates on our next show for the new year. We'll get that topic and registration link posted shortly. That's boostability.com/search-sessions. So thanks again, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your holiday season and a great new year. We'll see you in 2022.
Thank you.